G'day everyone, welcome to the Composite shop. I'm Ross, I'm a composites manufacturer. I do a lot of small projects. I'm a kayak builder. I'm currently building a 40-foot catamaran out of composite foam core materials. And this week we're going to be making some infills for a Seawind 1160 catamaran. Now, a good mate of mine, Ron Lilborn from Sydney, owns an 1160 catamaran, and he currently has canvas sections on his hard top, and it does make it a little bit difficult to work the boom and put in reefs and things on his catamaran. So you can buy these infills from Seawind, obviously, if you're prepared to order them and have them shipped to you. We've decided to make our own, as Ron's boat's a little bit older. It's one of the original Seawind 1160s. So what I intend to do is use 30mm foam core H80 foam and a couple of layers of glass on each side, peel plied. We'll then make a template, we'll cut it to shape, we'll put some edges on it, and it's going to be a pretty interesting process. So I'm going to cover this pretty much in detail as we build these, and it'll be a bit of a series on how to make a hard top. You could use the techniques I'm going to be using over the next couple of episodes just to make almost anything in your boat using foam core materials. So this is what we're going to do. Ron's on his way down from Sydney now. He's sailing down the coast. He's got about a day and a half sail down to Jervis Bay here. We're going to put his boat on the mooring and we're going to get to work. So I'm down here on Husky Wharf. This is our home wharf, and I'm waiting for Ron to come in. He's just anchored up out there. He motored down from Sydney and sailed down from Sydney yesterday. It took him about 10 hours from the southern reaches of Sydney. He got hit by a 50-knot westerly gust last night while he was on the anchor in a monster storm. I mean, it was a huge storm. So it's going to be very interesting to hear his stories, and he's a bit tired, so it could be a bit of a cranky bugger today. But anyway, he's on his way. He's about to come in and collect me off the wharf here, and we'll be able to at least get a start on getting some measurements for the template for this Targa infill. Welcome to Jervis Bay.
Yeah, I know, it's a lovely place.
I've started taking a bit of a template here. Off curve shape is going to be different on both sides, I guarantee it. As you can see here, the fabrication of these hard tops is pretty critical, as this canvas infill is really a very unsafe design, in my opinion. If you were to walk up there and get knocked by the boom, there's a good chance you're going to fall through that 10 feet flat to the deck. Seawind actually, as I mentioned, make hard tops for this. Their infills are available as an option on this particular boat. These ones are actually come out of a mould. I don't have a mould, and I don't intend to produce any more of them, so I'll be fabricating them straight from foam core, and obviously improve the safety and the reliability for Ron and Leslie, so they can fit solar panels and work the boom a lot much safer. You see how that curves back out, Ron, at the top there? It actually curves towards the front. Yeah, I'll need to consider that, because I'm going to have to oversize that bottom ridge that I've just templated there. Righto, we're off to work. I'm off to work, Ron's going for coffee. Okay, so I just got back from Ron's boat, and I've got the template here. It's a little bit rough. What I'm going to do, I'm going to basically lay up these two foam sheets with one layer of 300, a layer of 1200 quad, and then another layer of peel ply, just to finish it off so that we can get that structure. Then I'm going to take a better template. This one's actually okay, and I'll oversize it, and then we'll take the panel down, fit it on the yacht, see if it's going to fit, bring it back, do all that work. I think it's better if we do that and really have a concise fit, rather than a sort of a make-do off a rough cardboard template. It's given me a rough idea though. The great thing is that we know that it's not actually going to need to be extended. This sheet is long enough to do the job. So for these Targa infills, I'm going to use a 30mm H80 foam. The reason why I'm going to do that is because the more gap I can put, the less substrate I need on the outside. So I'm going to put one layer of 300 CSM for bonding, and the second layer is going to be a 1215 quadraxial, then with a peel ply finish, and that's pretty much going to do the job. And then we're going to basically prime, fair, paint, and then put some anti-slip on it at the end. It's proven that the bigger the gap in between our two substrates, the stronger and the more rigid this product is going to be. And they need to be able to walk on this, because it's essentially a serviceable area where you're up on the top and you're working on the boom, you're packing the sail away, you're working on lazy jacks, you're putting reefs in the mainsail and everything. So it's really important that we get this reasonably strong so that it can withstand the weight of a couple of big fellas up there dealing with the main, and in particular Ron and Leslie, who are about to go off touring for a few years in their Seawind. So I've started cutting cloth here. The next one will be the 1215 quad, which has got a brand new roll there, and then I'm going to reel off some peel ply, all of it to be put on rolls. We like to roll out our substrate. We don't want to at any point have folded substrates, because what that does, that'll damage the ends of the fibers. As soon as you fold something, you could potentially break the substrate. Particularly in chop matting instance, you're better off with a roll of fabric to lay out on the onto the foam core. But because this is dead flat, it's a pretty easy layup. It just needs resin and good consolidation practice, and then peel ply at the end, walk away, come out the next day, do the same thing. Right, so the second layer is going to be 1215 quadraxial. What a quadraxial is, it's got one layer going at 90 degrees, another layer at 0 degrees, another layer at 45 degrees, and another layer at 45 degrees, and they're all a stitched fabric, so it's all held together. The only thing I'll say about quadraxial is it's not a very good thing for putting over rounded shapes, or in corners you often have to pleat and cut and overlap to get into corners of items. So it's not a great substrate for doing things like boxes, or anything that's really got a peculiar shape or anything. It's all right on flat sheet, it's great on bulkheads, great on large sections of boat hulls and things, but once you start getting into intricate sort of sized products, you're better off almost using 3 layers of 400 double bias or 600 double bias, which will conform to the shape better, because it's only got 2 axes working against each other, I guess. So when you're starting to get into biaxials and double biases and quadraxials like this, you'll find that they have a weave of red line or some type of marker which enables you to see which way you've orientated the cloth. Very important this, and I make sure when I roll my substrates onto a roll that I keep them level, because that enables me, when I roll it out onto a piece of foam like so, keeps it dead straight, make sure I have minimal wastage, and I make sure that the orientation is exactly in the position that I'm intending it to have. I don't want to get it skew-if, because it can affect the structural integrity of the product that you're trying to make. Okay, I'm in my pseudo spray booth. It's about as good as I can get. I mean, this is a good, cheap way to set up a spray booth. If you're really pedantic, you can zip these up. But because I'm only spraying fiberglass, I'm really worried more about stuff getting on the other product in the factory here than so much the fumes, because I know there's going to be a lot of fumes anyway. I'm dealing with a lot of extraction up here. I've actually got filtered extraction from the end of my room here, and because I rent this factory unit or this shop, I pretty much, I've got to sort of do something that is removable. So this is the ideal solution, rather than buying a full-on spray booth, totally surrounded, and essentially stopping the gel coat from spraying all over my other tools and new kayaks and things that I might have in stock in here, and all the stuff that we store here, our furniture, etc. So it's worthwhile setting up a good shop. So I'm ready to lay up these two 30mm thick H80 foam sheets to make these infills for Ron's Seawind 1160, and essentially they're going to have one layer of 300, one layer of 1215 quadraxial, and then a layer of peel ply. I'm going to do both at once, leave them overnight, come back in the morning, do the other side, and we're ready to start fashioning these nice new infills. Now, one of the really important things to remember is that a mask like this might set you back $100 or so. I'm not sure how much the filters are. I think they're about $10 a pair. The important thing with these filters is they only last 2 or 3 weeks, and you don't leave it on your mask for years on end, because if you do that, it's actually not going to work. There is a small, if you have a look here, there's actually a section there where you can write the date. I've written the 19th of February, which is today, and I'll basically ensure that that is replaced every 3 weeks. Now, what I do with this mask at the end of it, I put it in a plastic bag, actually a Ziploc bag, and that stops any further degradation or reduces the degradation of that filter. It is a carbon filter. It's also an organic vapor filter, which is appropriate for use with styrene and epoxy monomers, etc. So essentially, spraying up, the bunny suit. I mean, this 3M bunny suit is pretty much. I mean, it will absorb resin, it'll catch all the resin on it. The one thing I will say is those white plastic suits, the ones that you typically buy, I can't work in them. It is already 30 odd degrees in here. I'm trying to work hard, and wearing a Tyvek suit like that, you're just going to die. So this thing does the job. To be honest, I'm a pretty clean worker. I'll have one suit for 6-7 months and I won't get a lot on it, and I'll say that, and today I'm going to cover myself in spray. So, but it will actually hit you on the skin. If it starts hitting you on the skin, you've got to get it off. You've got to stop work. You've got to get the stuff cleaned off with denatured alcohol, not acetone. Don't ever wipe acetone on pure skins. A couple of safety things. I'm ready to go. Let's get into it. So the process I use in my workshop here, as you can see, is I'm actually spraying polyester resin. Now this is consistent with the deck of the Seawind 1160. All those boats are made of polyester resin on their decks. This particular gun is a Graco RS gel coat gun. It can actually be modified to be used as a chopper gun with a chopper attachment. However, the delivery of too much fibre is often a problem with chopper guns. So what I like to do is lay down weighed sheets of chop matting and cloth to ensure that I end up with a good resin to weight ratio. We don't want to apply too much resin in this mix, as that will only create brittleness in the substrate, and it's very, very important. The other thing that's important to note here is that I'm actually catalyzing the MEKP catalyst at 2%, which is what we term a hot coat, which actually sets off the catalyst very quickly and ensures a good bond with the foam core. This foam also has perforations drilled into this foam, or manufactured into the foam, at 45mm intervals to ensure that I'm ending up with resin filling those holes and creating almost like nails into the foam core to adhere this foam to the substrates that I'm laminating on here. Now this 1215 quad that's being applied here does require quite a lot of resin, and you can see that I'm actually applying it in almost a robotic wet on wet fashion, which means that I'm trailing the edge of the gun over the existing wet surface and then rolling it in until the substrate is saturated. The final process here is to apply peel ply, which then absorbs the final part of resin and removes it to the top. And because it is an unwaxed resin that I'm using here, by using peel ply, it actually enables the removal of the tackiness in the top of the substrate, which means that I can then activate and simply sand and fair as required. So that's now done. I've finished both of these sheets. They're both complete. One layer of 300 CSM or chop strand matting just to get the bonding to the foam core, and then one layer of 1215 gram quadraxial. And we're just waiting for this to kick off now. Hopefully by about 2 this afternoon, I'm going to start designing these roof infills, and we can get basically to work. So this is our target infill for Ronnie. We've decided we've got our foam sheet laid up here. We've made some external bracing that's going to engage into the targa itself, and we've got an underlip here that we've fashioned. I'm going to do this in a bit more detail on the next one, but we're going to take the cutout down to the boat, check it out, check it for fit, and then we'll come back and we'll be able to start assembling. I reckon looks pretty good. I reckon that's and we've had to actually kerf this piece of can you just hold that for me? Yeah, so this is the end where it actually engages. You can see it's actually it's going to curve. Look at that. We've got curved foam core. And because we couldn't, I reckon we could almost kerf a piece of this. We've actually cut a piece of 30mm to almost the same size, which will laminate, but I'm going to try and kerf a piece.
You think so?
I'm going to try it.
Is it worth it?
I think we should try it, mate. So it's been a pretty productive afternoon. We've got the first infill here all shaped. That's going to be the first of our infills, and we're going to fashion this. We're going to go up and just check it, and hopefully we don't need to do much trimming. It should be pretty right, but I laid this up this morning. This is the beauty of fiberglass. We can get it done pretty quickly. Here we are. We've got our new hard top. Doing 4 knots, eh Ron?
We're doing 4.
4 knots. Got our new hard top here. We're heading up towards Better Than Shares up here. Okay, so the plan is we're going to interface this panel I've made down here, and we're going to make it fit in here. Could take a little bit of extra shaping, a little bit of adjustment, and hopefully the other side will be exactly the same, but there's no guarantees, and all things being equal it should be the same, eh Ron? Good luck with that. Along this line, only into the glass.
Yeah.
Right? So you can see down in here, this had a canvas top on it, and a little bit dangerous because you've only got about a foot each side of the boom to operate up here when you're putting reefs in, or you're dealing with the lazy jacks and packing the sail away. So these are going to be completely rock hard and serviceable, and certainly trafficable, which is more important. Just increase the safety on this boat. We're working on a drip line down along this line along here to make sure that we get water to flow off the boat at the right place as well. It's getting a bit difficult because it's not dead flat, it's actually curved, and you know, really, to do a perfect job you'd have to make a mold off this, and that's what Seawind have, a mold, you know, but you know, we've opted for the Ross made version, but we're going to see how we go here on the composite shop. I think we're going to do a pretty nice job. I think we'll knock out a nice couple of lids here. Right, so we've got the port sides totally different on that end, but not so bad up here. Actually, it's perfect up here. Yeah, if I video it, I'll be able to go and record.
Very important to get this right. That's how far we've come forward.
Let's have a look at what we've done here, Ronnie.
Alright.
Are you semi-happy?
Semi-happy.
Okay,
You know
we're getting there. Yeah, no, he's never
I'll be
happy
happy
until
at
the
the
job's
end.
done. Happy at the end. Reminds me of my dad. It's like my best mate and my dad rolled into one. Okay, we've got this here. That's looking pretty good from there, I reckon. I reckon we got it pretty close, buddy.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Still within the hour and a half that I predicted.
He predicted an hour and a half to get the job done, but I think it might be a bit longer, mate. Alright, so we've got a little bit of work to do here. We've got to go and we've got to actually recess this down and fair this down so that it matches the roof height here. And we've got we've actually spent probably 2 hours here just shaping this end of the targa. We've got it fitting absolutely perfectly here, and it's a nice fit. And we've got a lot of stuff to do now. We're going to add a grab rail under here. We're going to add a drip rail along this top here. So there's lots of work to do, but you know, we've got the main body of the shape here. I think that's the key, and lots of finishing work to do now. Ronnie's going to do a lot of sanding, man.
And to prove just how good we've been, I'm half happy.
He's half happy.
That means we've done a really fucking good job.
It's a glass half full, man, this. About an hour ago he was a glass half empty sort of guy, but he's
Quarter happy.
he's a quarter happy. Jesus. I think I've worn him out. You a bit tired, buddy?
Yeah.
End of the day, mate. It's only like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, mate. We've got another 8 hours. You right? I'll just video him while he loses his shit.
Open the fucking
Sit it on the top there. I can't open the door. You know the door doesn't work. This is the bloody poorest fucking boat builder in Australia.
Yeah.